Okay, guys, welcome to our roundtable, which we have every Tuesday. Thanks everyone for joining. We have a lot of speakers today, a lot of happening in the market as well. I'll be guiding our 1-hour conversation today because Follis is on the road today. It's a way more positive outlook than last roundtable, as prices are pumping. So that's a good thing, at least for me. It feels like a manipulated dump yesterday, nose diving into the lows on the 1st of December. And I was wondering what your take on this is, Bitbei. Do you have like an outlook for BTC at the moment or on Ethereum? What are your levels to watch? You were the talent with the highest win rate and with the great R. So I'm giving the podium to you at the moment.
Yes, thank you. Can I share the screen?
Yeah,
Just,
of course.
yeah, okay, cool.
Love that.
Well, the timing is kind of bad because I took a loss there. I really did.
So you're in front of the Lions. Yeah.
It's fine. I did not expect such a strong day today. So on the daily, I always start with a higher time frame. I see that we somehow found a nice bottom at the value area low of the previous range. That was the accumulation we had back in February to April. So it lasted quite some time. And one thing I noticed whenever we look at the chart on a high time frame, but also on lower time frame, is that we tend to always retest this accumulation or distribution somehow. So we bounce from the value area low. And my bias is that we will range a little bit for a few weeks, more or less like what we did there. But today we kind of erasing completely the bearish candle from yesterday. So what am I looking at? There are key levels I'm very interested in. If I want to position myself for shorts. Maybe the yearly open plus 4 highs, but it might come actually sooner than I expected. I was expecting this to come maybe next week or I don't know when, but like maybe it's coming today or tomorrow. And on the higher time frame, where I will be very careful if I'm long or if I have spots, is first of all the anchored VWAP from the all-time high here, which is going down slowly but surely towards maybe the 618 level at 102K. And if we drag a lot of time here, it might even come lower to 98.5K.
Which EMA is that?
This is the anchored VWAP.
Anchored VWAP, okay. That line. Right.
So it's the VWAP, like the volume weighted average price from the top. And I like to use this kind of recently. I started to use it like a few weeks ago. And it gives me like a compass of the current trend where potentially we can see the trend being over. So if we flip that VWAP, wherever it is, like if it's here or here, depending on when we flip it, I would consider the market to be like extremely bullish. So until now, I would say we're sideways, downtrending. Be careful with the longs or we'll take profit early rather than never. And that's my macro view on Bitcoin.
Yeah, super interesting take. Thanks for that. I really agree. I think on the higher time frame we're still in a downtrend. I have kind of the same level, that 100K area, 102K area. It's going to be like the big bearish line in the sand to break. But yeah, Trump has a lot of influence on the markets, and he's gonna do some announcement tonight. So that's why I said this morning already in my stream, we're probably gonna keep on pumping until Trump releases what he has to say. I think it's in 3 hours from now. So I would be really careful on the lower time frame to start shorting before the announcement. So what do you think he's gonna announce, Osbrah? Do you have any hot take on the macro at the moment? Is he going to replace Powell already? Is he going to announce the most bullish rate cuts for December and 2026, or what's your take on that?
We talked about it briefly with Bitbei this morning. The thing is, it's we can't really predict. It's unpredictable. Last time we made an announcement and it was to say, yeah, guys, I'm going to reduce the price of weight loss drugs. So nothing to do with crypto and nothing to do with the market. Then after that, he said he would have a huge announcement and it was the Genesis mission about AI. So we don't really know. You can talk about anything, and especially at that moment, it can also be about the situation with Venezuela, because he had a phone call with President Maduro. So it can be literally anything. It's difficult to guess, but I would say it's not related to crypto. If I had to bet, is there a poly market bet for this one? And and the second one about Powell, I don't think there will be anything related to Jerome Powell being replaced before May, because last time I had this yesterday on stream I had this question: is Powell, like, imagine if Powell is like resigning? I don't think it will happen because his mandate is coming to an end in May. So if he didn't resign like a year ago or like 6 months ago, I don't see any reason to resign now before FOMC meeting and like 5 months before his mandate is officially over. So I would say if I had to bet, it would be about Venezuela, about maybe China, because remember last time Besant said they were finalizing the deal with China regarding the tariff. So yeah, it could be anything, but at the top of the list, I would say Venezuela, China, and maybe crypto.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the whole thing. This cycle, huh? That the charts, whenever they bottom, it's really difficult to find an entry because there's so many insiders already pushing the price up into such a news event. So it's really guessing how bullish the price action will be after the announcement. So it's really difficult to write the trend up if you have like 3 hours of green candles, what we saw today, to find an entry on a lower time frame pullback. So yeah, what's your take? Like, I saw a lot of people talking about that the consensus is that whenever November is red, that December is also red. What do you think? Is there any confluence between these two, or what's your take on that?
It's still for me, right?
Sorry? Yeah, for you. Yeah, for you. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there is. No, I don't think there is any confluence. And to be honest, macro-wise, if I can, it's not. I'm not trying to escape, but if I say, if I can give my view macro-wise, I think the thing we should first look at is the FOMC that will take place next week. But more importantly, because it's completely, we had a quick talk with Professor Satoshi and team yesterday. I think 25 basis point is priced in, but I think the most important thing, especially after today, because today is officially the end of the quantitative tightening, just a reminder for everyone, we should be very careful to what Powell is going to say regarding that. Is he going to announce the QE or not? So I think that's the most important thing to look at macro-wise, and the rest will be noise. Remember that FOMC is next week. It's in 8 days. So between today and next week, I think I think it will be noisy. And we shouldn't lose the sight of what matters, and it's going to be what I just said.
Yeah. At least we have great volatility on the lower time frame. I remember the bear market where they had like 1% moves in during the day, and that would be it for the rest of the week. So I'm pretty happy with this volatility. I know a really good range trader who is also on the podium here. It's Tim. How do you play this range, and what do you think is the bottom in? Are we forming a higher low here, or do you still look at a sweep of 80K? I mean, we see a lot of stock demand returning and ETF inflows are picking up again. Do you use these confluences to form your thesis, Tim, or do you only like trade the charts and play the range at the moment? You can share your screen if you want to.
I'm just going to speak today, but I am hopeful. I'm hopeful that was a bottom. I'm hopeful that it's a higher low. Sort of how I'm looking at December is kind of a play it by ear approach. I feel like there's a lot of data that's about to drop in the next week or two, and markets are sort of trying to price that in, and they're getting smacked with red folder data. What feels like every day in the next couple of weeks, right? And we have FOMC next Wednesday, and I think that's going to keep crypto highly volatile, right? I'm not going to pretend like I don't think that this pump has come from what Powell said last night. I think it's directly related to that, but the timing, couldn't be better for a potential bottom, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I think if the Fed confirms that they're looking to continue their cuts through early 2026, that kind of flips the whole tone of the market. Crypto, it's a very speculative asset, right? And speculative news also tends to move crypto first. Just so convenient, the timing of it all, right? You just happen to get news like this at what could be potential lows. It always seems to work out like that. But you have to look at the calendar, right? We have ADP, JOLTS, ECI, CPI, PPI, right? And all this happening within the next week, and I think we'll really know where we stand next Wednesday, right? Yeah. But it may be too late to get into longs, right? So you kind of have to play the charts as they come, and as key levels flip, you have to take the long, no matter how scary it is. My month was bad last month because I tried that same thing, but historically speaking, it always comes back and pays for itself, right? Like I've already was negative last month, and I've already pretty much got myself out of that hole with just one trade today.
That's nice.
And that's my plan. I'm gonna stick to my plan. As key levels flip, I will continue to long them, and until I have a reason to not long again, I'm gonna stay longing. Right? I'm hopeful for a Santa rally, but I'm not gonna be stupid about it. I'm not gonna, if structure shifts on the H4 or H1 timeframes at a key level, I'm gonna hold back. But I think I'll remain hopeful. If December gives us a continuing rate cut signal with all the news drops that are coming, I feel like crypto kind of just reacts immediately. We've had so much pain; it makes sense to even have at least a little relief, right?
Yeah. We'll always be leading to the upside as well, and we'll be bleeding and dying when we go lower. So hopefully we can expand a bit, especially with like I said, with the spot demand that's returning. Also the ETF inflows are picking up, and the compression we had, and now we're moving upwards with a fake out on the first day of December. I think that was a really nice bear trap for the rest of the month. And there's where my conspiracy theorist comes alive, like the government was shut down for so long, and now into usually historically the most bullish month for crypto with a center rally coming up, you have all these data points coming out like FOMC, like you said, CPI data. It's all coming before the end of the year. So yeah, I think they're playing tricks in the book to have like a final nice rally going into the new year where everyone is sidelined and everyone is screaming for lower and 69K. I'm personally not a fan of going lower than Michael Saylor's buying price, which is around 77K. So I think we're front running his wall for now. So and regarding your losing streak, I really want you to join if you're available tomorrow for Osbrah and me are giving a trading psychology masterclass tomorrow. Maybe you can explain a little tomorrow about your comeback and how you felt during a losing streak, but that's for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, I can totally try to do that, man.
Yes.
It's important. That's something good to touch on a little bit, because it's important. Like when you have a bad month, we all have them. Yeah. So the only thing that really affects me mentally is that I'm doing it publicly, right? So that kind of gets in there a little bit more than the usual trader. But you just got to stick to your system. That's all there is to it, man.
Yeah, definitely. And it can get under your skin when you do it for the whole group, of course. Like we're a large trading group, so but we all know you can kill it. So thanks for that, Tim, and hopefully you'll slay the markets again in December.
For sure, man.
Appreciate you. So yeah.
If
Okay,
I could just, I just want to jump in here quickly, just off the back of Tim's kind of like outlook on what's happening in the market at the moment. Something that not many people are talking about is that Vanguard has been allowed by the SEC to actually present Bitcoin as a risk-on asset to their $11 trillion asset base, and this is something that happened today. And I think off the back of what Paul said, and also Vanguard's basically license to sell Bitcoin, I think this is the reason why we're seeing Bitcoin rallying right now. And I've got a good mate of mine, guy from the States, and I think, Tim, you'll be able to relate to this word. But Vanguard investors are called boggleheads. Apparently, boggleheads don't sell, they just fucking buy. So if that's the case, then, Bitcoin might be going down a road where a lot of people are going to be buying it and are going to be holding on to it. So I don't know if you want to comment around boggleheads and Vanguard, but that's, I think, is a major, major catalyst to what's happening at the moment.
I've heard something very similar, Jedi, as far as Vanguard goes. But I'd also like to tack onto that I don't think that Solana ETFs had 1 day of outflows since they went live. That's something important to note, I think, also.
Definitely, yeah. Small flows, but consistent inflows. Yeah, no outflows at all. I saw that as well. Yeah.
That's
Same with Ethereum. The spot demand for the ETFs picked up a lot after the drawdown we had, and also we have the ETH Fusaka upgrade tomorrow. Maybe we can touch a little on that, Jedi, where we have the upgrade tomorrow. Do you know anything bullish around that catalyst?
Well, I think I'm sorry I jumped in there, but I think from what's interesting about ETH is that it just continues to do things, right? And people don't really talk about it. Basically, what this is about is essentially making transactions cheaper, in a nutshell. There's a lot of technical stuff around it, but they're rolling it out tomorrow, and they reckon there's going to be a significant saving on those transactions. I don't believe them, because they always say that things are going to be cheaper, and then the network gets busy, and then we're paying $300 per transaction. So I'm not entirely convinced, but I think it is a bullish catalyst. I think it is something that we've got to consider as part of kind of like Ethereum's bullish narrative. The other thing as well that I think is actually even more important, and I can't believe I've forgotten the name, but there's a $2.5 trillion fund in Europe that has just elected to actually start using Ethereum to start presenting RWAs for their clients. So there's a lot happening on Ethereum that people don't really talk about. But those who know, they know, and I think this is just more of the same around kind of like ETH being the bedrock for kind of like financial institutions. I think predominantly from a security perspective.
Amundi, right?
Amundi, that is correct. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot happening. Also, like that China bans crypto again is being the headline. The Tether FUD around with Arthur Hayes. Arthur Hayes has been known for people that are not here for a long time in the crypto space. Arthur Hayes, whenever he buys, you sell. Whenever he sells, you buy. And now his new project was FUDding, and FUDding means spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt around the project. And what he did was basically FUDding Tether this week, and he build a whole chaos theory around Monad. So actually it makes a lot of sense that we're bottoming at the moment if Arthur Hayes is your counter indicator. So that's why I'm very bullish on Monad. Let's discuss some alts as well, Jedi. Is your thesis still valid around Monad, or I still think it's really undervalued at the moment, and that Monad is worth way more than 300 million?
So I kind of like started out being super bullish around what it is that Monad was doing because I mean there's a lot of really interesting projects on in that ecosystem, like really good ones. I mean, we've got Monk here. I mean he's a part of a team that's running a DEX on there, perp stakes. I mean there's some really good value that's existing. And when we started this launch, I was super bullish, and then it kind of did that initial pump, and then it just was down only. I mean, it basically like retraced a good 70% or 60%. And then I was like, oh shit, here goes another plasma, you know? But then what seems to have happened is that it hit that 300 million market cap, and it looks like it's in for a bounce here, and it's looking really strong. It's not doing a plasma. It looks like it's taking on its own thing. So if we assume that this is a good ecosystem with good fundamentals, which I think it does have, then I think at 300 mil, we're getting a bargain. I mean, this thing could easily do a 10x from here, provided we get some kind of bullish catalyst coming from Bitcoin and we get some liquidity coming in, provided we get that. Otherwise, it's just going to land up doing more of the same, pump and then dump, pump and then dump.
Making fun of me, making fun of us in the chat, zooming out on the monthly. But to be honest, Monad has been trading into pre-market very long. And it actually launched last or like 1.5 weeks ago officially, but it has been trading into pre-market the weeks before. So the chart actually looks like shit, yeah, on the weekly time frame. But you have to keep in mind that the actual launch price was 0.025. So yeah, keep that in mind because now it looks like it's been down only, but it actually looks way better. I'll make sure next roundtable that it will be trading way higher. I'll try to do my part. Thanks for your insights. Yeah. Thanks for your insights, Jedi. Vic, what do you think? Do we get a center rally or not? And how much do you think the confluence between having a red November and I know you're a more data driven person.
Yeah, so that's something interesting that you mentioned. I wanted to actually research what the numbers are, but then I realized that even if you find, let's say, that 70% of the time the direction of the December candle coincides with the direction of the November candle, the sample size would still be too low for Bitcoin. If we're looking at traditional markets, sure, maybe we can go back and look at the last 50 years and see if there's a correlation. But for Bitcoin, even if we find something, it's not going to be as meaningful simply because the sample size is too low. So simply speaking, from that perspective, I don't think that there is something useful to look at in that direction. But in terms of whether or not we do get a center rally, the most important level for me will be the previous month high. So after putting in the bottom at the end of November, we of course had a few days to 2 weeks of decent bullish price action. But then the level that we stopped at is the yearly value low. So if you draw a volume profile since the start of the year, that has been the exact level where we have rejected from. And you can see that right now we didn't really tap it, but come on, it was like $100 away. So this area right here is an area of big resistance. And unless we can flip that, I am still bearish. Maybe my view is a little bit contradicting to most of the guys right now, because of course this pump was really bullish, and it's normal to expect a continuation, and I can totally see a month where this is the monthly low. I'm just saying that until we are able to go past this resistance at 92 to 93k, my bias is still bearish overall, because if we look at this from this perspective, this is the yearly range. When you go back below the value low of a range, you want to go back in for this to become a deviation, right? However, if you reject from the value low, then that's more likely to be a continuation to the downside. Of course, that is going to be confirmed if we make a new low, lower than the previous month low, but so far I just don't like how we rejected from that level. So if we are able to push past this area of resistance, then yes, I will flip bullish for the month of December, and we can have a really nice Santa rally. If we don't do that, honestly, I expect us to take out the previous month low. So very important level right now.
Agree. Yeah, definitely. Thanks for your take, man. Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed signal, you know. The consensus on X, and that's usually when 90% of the people expecting that November is bearish and December should show continuation, then usually it isn't happening. Like the same that we would have gotten October and the super bullish Q4, and I'm gonna sell my bags in Q4 on the exit pump, and that didn't happen. We basically went down only. So hopefully, I'm betting against the odds that, like like we have the center rally on the one hand, that historically we get a center rally, and on the other hand we have November bearish means December bearish. But I'm hoping we get some sort of December rally for now.
Let's see what Polymarket says about the odds for this month. So they think that there is like a 43% chance that BTC hits 100K this month. So that's not small.
Yeah.
So they are kind of expecting a bullish, and only 10% chance for 70K.
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
They are
That's good.
bullish.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, the only thing I have is that the yearly open around 93K is now such a crowded place, you know. We have so much confluence in that 93, 94K area for shorts that people want to see the sweep, the previous monthly high. It's all like, it's very difficult to see if the yearly open is going to provide like a good shorting opportunity. I don't know. I think I'm more leaning towards, as always, of course, towards longs. I can't even say that out loud because I'm always long, of course. But I'm hoping that we get like a retest of 88K, somewhere around that level, to get long, and so I can ride the trend for now. Another thing I want to touch on is the strategy, the MicroStrategy green dots. I don't know if anyone has heard of it, but it had me sleepless all Sunday because Michael Saylor announced last Sunday that he wanted to add green dots next to his orange dots. And what this means basically is that the orange dots, they show the Bitcoin buying, and now he said, why don't we add green dots? So I tried to analyze that a bit and try to explain it to you with my amateur look, what this actually means. So he announced yesterday that they launched like a dividend reserve of 1.4 billion. And that was the green dot that everyone was talking about. And how I interpret it, that for the crypto market, that it's like a buffer against forced selling. That's arguably bullish for Bitcoin supply dynamics, and that they have to buy back master shares as well, so that the master price will be a bit higher again as well. So they can pay the dividends to their shareholders. I don't know if anyone dove into this as well or can talk about this. Maybe Osbrah. I don't know if you have any thoughts about the green dots of Michael Saylor.
Did he confirm what it was about exactly? Because I saw a lot of speculation.
He announced that it was like a 1.4 billion dividend reserve.
USD reserve, right? The USD reserve.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really important for the markets to come that master will become strong again as well. It also has been on a really big support level.
But also, I think it's like people started to speculate and they turned a bit bearish on the green dots thingy. However, I think it's exactly. When prices are going down anyway, every single catalyst is a bearish one. But I think it's a good thing because strategy is introduced in the stock market, right? It's part of the stock market. And we had the news earlier today that they get the approval for the S&P, from the S&P. And it's very important for such a company to have guarantees and securities. And exactly. So of course they have to submit a plan to showcase how they protect their investors, shareholders, etc. So I think it's a very good thing, even though people we've been used to see Sailor only talking about BTC buying. That to have like a business plan hinting that they could sell BTC if something go bad, and people are like freaking out. But come on, like if something goes bad for the company, of course they have to sell at some point. We all know that, but it's like, you don't want to hear the truth, right?
No.
But overall, I think it's a good thing, and I prefer that than seeing, for example, Strategy being delisted from the Nasdaq, for example, because they don't comply with whatever stuff.
Yeah, that as well. And I think it's really important that they have reserves, because I think the lower we got on BTC, like his average buying price is around 77K. I think there was a lot of fear in the market that they had to force sell BTC, and now they have their reserves coming up at the moment. I think that fear got taken away from the market, and that's also maybe one of the reasons why we're pumping at the moment. So that could be a good catalyst together with the Gen carry trade, of course, that's reducing any pressure. So I think from a macro perspective, at the moment, we're going into the right place, especially with the quantitative easing that we're discussing every week, and the rate cuts that are coming up with next week's FOMC. So yeah, I think we're on the right path to a healthy and sustainable uptrend again. Monk, do you still want to speak about the liquidity and heat maps you usually use in your trading? Would love to know your take about BTC, but also, actually, I'm really interested in Ethereum and your take on that.
Yeah, sure. About BTC, I'm quite surprised about what just happened today and yesterday, because we had like a big liquidation cluster below the bottom that we have on BTC, and we also have like a toxic order flow. I think it's almost at 82K. So it's quite a big levels. And I was thinking to long BTC at this level, but didn't get the opportunity. Maybe we will have a retest of BTC in the coming days. But what I can see right now, it's very positive for bulls and for people who are longing BTC. I see a huge domination of short, mainly on Binance. 77% of short dominations, and we are talking about in total, we are talking about 24 billion of open interest on Binance. So it's quite interesting.
Share your screen?
Oh yeah, sure, I can do it. Yeah.
Nice. Make it visible. Make it.
Yeah, right. It's better. But yeah, I was checking this point, guys. So the things that I really like in all leverage, during all September and October, people were very focused to be long and trying to reach all-time high on BTC, and now we can see that people are bearish, and even the psychology of the market, what you can read on Twitter and on every social media. So that's the thing that I really like on BTC, and to target higher levels. And what I put on my chart is the level that I want to reclaim and orders. It's almost a 94K on BTC, and we will be above value high weekly for BTC. So something that I really want to reclaim. But firstly, if I want to enter any trade on BTC, I will just wait. You know my setup, guys, and how I trade. So I will wait. Like, this is a big resistance for BTC. You also have like a nice opportunity to short, and I will wait to grab liquidity around the long cluster here, and even link to the VWAP, I'm pretty happy that Bitbei you are using VWAP right now. I think like rolling VWAP, and or the VWAP setup that you can use. It's so helpful, guys, and I really recommend it. Just to finish on the clusters, on the short-term view, what I can see, it's people are still opening short, so we can just go higher, and it's not like a small short cluster. We are talking about millions of shorts, so we are targeting what's the levels, 91 and 500. So something that I'm looking also to opening a short, but I know my setup, and I know I'm better to long BTC. So I will wait to find an A plus setup and to share with all of you guys. And just in optical opti, it's high leverage, and people like we can consider this is more degen traders. And we have like a huge domination of long right now, 73% on BTC with a larger open interest compared to Ethereum. And here we are talking about 71% of long domination. I will just finish quickly on market maker, something that I just saw this morning. As you can see here, they are selling BTC when, let me just put in a large screen. This is gamma exposure in order to see what market maker are doing. Do they buy or sell when BTC is dumping or pumping? And right now they are selling in the both way of BTC. So it's clear that BTC is under resistance, and we will not have any powerful help from market maker because they just need to sell BTC. There is only one point where market maker are buying right now. It's on the levels, 90K and 700s, but below they are selling, and above they are selling also. So right now I will not do anything to long BTC because even market maker are against the price right now. So it's something that it's very rare to see a market maker doing the same action above and below the price. It's like a big information for all of us right now on BTC. So even if we can go higher, they will adapt their strategy, but it's always very interesting. The last time that we had the same setup, it was the opposite because they were buying and selling BTC above and below the price. There were long gamma. So BTC just after that reached all-time high. So it doesn't mean that we will be a big rejection here, but it means that I prefer to be with market makers than against. That's all for me. So I didn't give you some key levels, but yeah, just right now I'm just checking like the value arrow here with the long cluster and with my FIBO and my VWAP. I will have more time during the week in the market brief to go deeper. But yeah, I think everything will be linked with central bank. We have FOMC next week, and also Europe and England bank on the middle of December. So yeah,
it's going to be a crazy packed week with lots of volatility. And I think for beginners, it's going to be pretty difficult to navigate the markets, as we'll probably be news driven. Like next week, like we said, FOMC, CPI data, all before the Christmas things happen into the end of the new year. So I think it's going to be really volatile regarding Bitcoin, but also on altcoins, we already see some nice traction. Do you have anything on your radar regarding altcoins at the moment, Jedi? I think we can discuss altcoins for hours and hours and hours, but I'm really wondering what you have your eyes on for this week.
The thing is, I think there's kind of like one of the big narratives at the moment that seems to actually not go away, because as you know, in crypto, narratives come and go really quickly, and they kind of accelerate as well at times. But the neobanking one is something that seems to persist. We obviously made that call on a VC a couple of weeks ago. It was actually at the middle of November, sorry. And I think the neobanking one is something that really does interest me. Any kind of dips, not that it is actually experiencing many dips on a VC, I think is like a really good bet for the medium to long term. It's actually one of the few spot positions that I do have at the moment. And then what I'm seeing at the moment as well, and it might be worth putting on your watch lists, are kind of like the old AR tokens from last year, November. It seems like someone is manipulating Pippin heavily at the moment. Saw a Bubble Maps report that came out, but I'm not obviously bullish on that. What I'm bullish on is kind of like the other ones, the other AR tokens that did really well last November. So I've got those on watch list, and I think they're going to do really well. It's just a feeling, it's just a hunch that I've got, because generally what happens is when you get moves like this from manipulated coins, the others follow. And I think we're going to see, I think we might actually see memes do something as well.
Crazy
December
at the
tends to
moment.
be,
Pippin, Fartcoin,
Yeah.
Pengu, all these newer. I mean, risk on is definitely coming back. It's crazy.
Definitely. It is. I mean, it's really easy to kind of like get bearish around stuff because, you know, obviously the king leads the charge, and it's been, I think the last 2 weeks have been absolutely horrendous. But then you get these little twists, and I think that's where the value in what it is that we do comes in. Like, are we actually paying attention? Even though I'm generally quite grumpy about the market. I don't know if you saw my messages in our other chat, but like
You're always
I've just
grumpy.
been generally no, I've been particularly grumpy. But the important thing is, even when you're grumpy, even when things aren't going well, even when you're having a shit month like you guys were talking about earlier on, I think it's really important to just be aware of what the fuck is going on all the time. Go and check those Telegram channels. Even if you're sidelined, it doesn't matter. Just keep your finger on the pulse, because I think you get those small windows where you can actually make a tremendous amount of money in a very short space of time. And all it means is that you've got to be fucking on it. And if you are, and you deploy at the right time, you really can win big. So for me, to summarize, I like the AR tokens. They're starting to do things. And then keep an eye on some of the older memes that have gotten rid of the bundlers that have bottoms. I think they might land up running.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the thing is with meme coins, a lot of people can trade them because it's a psychological thing that they can't trade things that don't have any value. So that's usually also why things like Fartcoin run so hard, because it's a psychological thing that people just can't buy a coin called Fartcoin, and that's why it pumps so hard, you know? And then, I was sidelined on Fartcoin as well when it was like 50 million or so, and I saw all these good accounts like Bleaker and Dog and all the other guys being bullish on Fartcoin. And now it feels like it's like late cycle for these type of coins. And is it a dead cat bounce? Is it the start of a new cycle? I really don't know, but this time I'm probably not gonna miss it, or I don't want to miss it, because like with retail and like you discussed as well, whenever risk appetite returns, the money flows to the most risk-on assets, you know, like Fartcoin and all the other meme coins. Like the middle trash, people can't understand. The only thing what retail can understand is meme coins, AI, or layer ones, things that actually get used. And that's why coins like layer twos or so, like Arbitrum or Optimism, never run that hard, because people don't use it or people don't understand it. So I think there's a case to make why meme coins always run the hardest, because when retail actually returns and when we go into a mania phase, these are the coins. Like my girlfriend would buy a QDog, but she wouldn't buy a modular blockchain like TIA, you know? And that's what we can see on the chart on TIA as well. Because trading minus 70% after minus 70%.
What are you looking at the moment that you kind of like check like on a regular basis? What are your like top 5?
My top 5, I think, to be honest, hype is going to be the blue chip. There's no doubt about that. It's here to stay. The team is working. The DEX has been really smooth. It's even smoother than Aster. Though I want to bet on two horses here, because Esther, I think CZ, it's too big to fail. It was the first big announcement, his private investment in Esther after BNB. I think he bought privately BNB at, what was it, $50 or so, or $30, something like that. And now he said at $1 that he was an active investor into Esther. So I don't think, I think it's too big to fail Esther. So Esther, for me, hype. I think virtual is still a good one to keep your eyes on. Pump, because of the buybacks. They have doing huge buybacks, Pump. Also hype is doing huge buybacks, of course. And another coin, like a small cap, I would say, is Party. I have my eyes on that one. But I will explain that one a bit more. I will do an in-depth analysis on Party next week. So I want to have some exposure into meme coins as well. I think Murat, that has been actively pushing SPX, will have its golden week or his golden bull era as well, somewhere in Q1 and Q2. And I still lean towards the thesis of Follis, where he said that whenever Powell gets replaced in what is it, March or April next year?
May.
Yeah, May.
It's in May. Yeah.
That we will have the biggest bull cycle of them all, where the economy is going to shit, but our crypto coins are going like insanely high. So maybe we were just a bit early on the bull thesis like this year. But let's discuss one more item. Do you think because Osbrah, for example, is our macro guy, do you think the rate cuts are going to be? It's a bit of an open question. I think I know the answer already. But do you think the rate cuts are going to be bullish or bearish for risk-on assets? I don't get it why people are still so bearish while we're going into a period with quantitative easing coming up and rate cuts coming up. What's your take on that, Osbrah? I know you've been talking about it a lot already, but
you know my take about it. But
yeah,
I mean, I also don't. I genuinely don't understand why people see it as bearish, because at this point, life itself is bearish. You know, like it's pointless to live if everything is like bearish. Like as you said earlier, when prices are going down, every single catalyst is seen as bearish. QT is bearish, QE is bearish. Balance sheet shrinking is bearish. Everything is bearish. So yeah, exactly. So what do we have? Like, when are the prices going to go back? Like and just like Monk said, life is boring if everything is bearish. And oh, it's me actually. But no, I mean, of course, like we saw the announcement. Of course, it was like a couple things. We had Vanguard, to be serious. We had Vanguard. We had QE as well. So QT ending, sorry, not QE. QT ending in the Vanguard news. So that helped, and it's difficult to say if the push was solely because of the QT ending, but we see the effect of something positive and something that leads towards QE. So that's the first step, and then the next step is the QE itself. And once again, I'm not saying this because I want to be bullish or whatever, but it's like 50, 60, 70 years of data, and there is no bearish QE. There is no bearish QE because, like, if you don't buy assets, it takes a bit of time. Exactly, before you see the effects. Exactly. So this is why we don't have an all-time high, just because the Fed started to cut rates, right? And also, like,
it has delayed effect, of course.
Yeah, it had delayed effect, and also it's not 25 basis points cut that makes a difference when you have rates close to 5%. Right? We need much more rate cuts, and we talked about it. Now, I guess you guys know, we also need the Federal Reserve to support the market by buying assets, so increasing the balance sheet. It's like an important component of QE, because the mistake people do is that they only look at rate cuts, right? It's really important to have both, otherwise it's not really a QE. But I think we're getting close to it anyway. If they don't have the choice, I think it's the first time. I think it's Sorry, go on.
You feel it in the air that something is brewing behind the scenes, and that the rate cuts and the quantitative easing, it all comes together like somewhere early next year, where all the stars are aligning, and that we have like a really bullish period. Like, it can't go on like this. It's
Yes. Also, I was going to say it's probably the first time I think it would be criminal from the Fed not to cut rates and keeping the rate cut steady, considering the labor market situation. Labor market is in a very tough situation, and it's not going to be better with AI jobs replacement, etc. going on. So yeah, now the Fed has to cut, the Fed has to intervene. Of course, it happens when prices are already crazy high. We have insane valuations on the S&P side and Nasdaq side. Also, we start to have like good valuations on the Russell 2000. Not that much for altcoins, from crypto, but it will come. But it is what it is. Like, cycles are different, and this time the QE will happen when prices are already high. Last time it happened when things were down bad. It's just like cycles are different. You cannot expect to have everything to be the same. But the only thing, and if I'm wrong anyway, it's fine, because it means something has drastically changed. But usually QE is bullish. QE is the good time to buy assets, to hold assets. And QT is the good time to sell usually. So we'll see. This time we had all-time high made during QT. So let's see what the next QE has in store for us.
Yeah. Super exciting weeks ahead, guys. It was a super nice conversation with you all. We have been talking about the markets for 1 hour. I really want to thank all listeners, all members, for staying with us. I think you're in the right place here with us. We have the best of interest with you all, and hopefully things get better. If you're on a losing streak or on a winning streak, things will eventually get better. You're here to learn. Super nice stuff coming up in the first quarter of the new year, with all the learning modules coming up. Follis is working really hard behind the scenes to get it all packed for you all. Thanks all for joining. Thanks all analysts for taking your time to explain the markets for our members, and hope to see you in the group chat or on the next roundtable next week. Thanks all.